5 years in that division and they're out.
Welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome back to SEADOGS Can Fly. This is episode number 14, season 3, and we're in the National League. Today's episode features a top of the table clash against Barnet. As you can see, after 16 games we're top and Barnet are second. Only 3 goals separate the two sides. Leyton Orient, our other rivals, are down in third. We play them in a couple of games time, but the other livecom game you're going to get to watch today is at home to Newport in the FA Cup first round. Before we jump into the episode itself, if you're new around here, please do subscribe and click the bell button. That way you get notified of new episodes when they go live. And please do like the video if you've enjoyed it. It really does help the channel. Right, boys, we are going to start with a little update on Ryan Williams from the class of 2020. He scored 5 goals in 6 appearances for the month of October, and he's really found his feet. As you can see, he's made massive improvements from the last time we saw him. You may not remember, so I'll refresh your memory. Here's his progress. And if you look at his attributes of all time, look how much they've gone up. His determination's gone down, but that's due to the overall determination within the squad. Every other attribute has increased. His balance has gone up 3, which is massive because that was a concern of mine, as has his pace and his acceleration, his finishing, just all-round improvement across the board. And most importantly, this off-the-ball movement, which has resulted in a couple of really nice goals. We're now starting to see Williams get behind more often, in on the opposition, and finishing a little bit more like a poacher. The other player from the class of 2020 I wanted to take a quick look at today is Daryl McCall. I was worried this kid wasn't going to fill the boots of Warburton, who we've decided to bench a little bit this season due to his lack of determination and lack of development. Well, he has not let me down. He scored 2 peach of goals in the last few games, which I'll show you now, and his development has been fantastic. It's his technique that's been my main concern, the fact that he can't shoot and he's not the greatest dribbler or crosser. Well, with goals being scored like that, he's obviously coming along nicely, and you can see his acceleration's gone up 3, his pace has gone up 2, his balance has gone up a few. Just his all-round game has improved massively. I think he's going to be a really good inverted wing-back for us in the future, and his passing's half decent. Not a fan of that vision. That is probably going to be an issue area we can't really improve. But we're not going to get everything at this level. Right, boys, let's jump into the schedule and catch up with what you've missed out on. So we left off last time beating Hartlepool at home and Ebbsfleet away. Those were the first 2 games of the new season in the National League, and we were off to a flyer. After that, I decided to make a tactical video, basically guide on how you create your own system. I'll link it just up there now. And that was done for the game itself, just for the Wrexham match. We went with a 4-2-3-1. And it worked an absolute charm. Fonseca scored a couple of goals and Vraka scored 2 as well. What I really liked is the way that we moved the ball around. There always seemed to be an overload available in the box, and Fonseca worked really nicely with that shadow striker just in behind, while the wingers offered a threat from out wide, and the inverted wing backs, which we also use with the 4-4-2, sat very nicely narrow, almost forming a 3 or even a 4-man midfield in behind. Loads of options throughout the pitch, so this is going to be a really nice system to use going forward. This was then followed by a great victory against Sutton United. We won that match 7-1. Absolutely amazing. Fonseca scored a hat-trick on the 5th, 48th and 69th minute. Ryan Williams even got in on the act with a really nice goal, and Lacour was just in fine form. Sutton did get a consolation goal, but in all honesty, we were way too good for them. Aldershot were up next. This match was away from home, and they were playing a 4-4-2, which isn't a tactic I come up against, surprisingly enough, that often. And we actually really struggled. We went 1-0 down, and we managed to bring it back level to 1-1. But after this, Aldershot just seemed to be hammering our goal with attempts. We were really struggling. Every time we had an attack, they seemed to counter. Anyway, I switched at half-time to the 4-2-3-1. We saw the game out with loads of possession and managed to nick a goal right at the end from Vrakas. We came up next against Havant and Waterlooville, and sure enough, they were playing a 4-4-2 again. So I had a quick look at the reports from my assistant and scouts, and they all suggested that these teams were playing either a cautious or a park the bus type of mentality. So I decided to switch from the off to the 4-2-3-1. The reason for that is I thought if I can get enough players in the middle of the pitch, we can control the game and maybe not give them as many opportunities to counter. Well, it worked really well against Havant Waterloo. Whether it was coincidence or not, we came out 2-0 victors. George Jarman scoring from a corner and Ryan Williams with a really nice finish. We just seemed to play and work the ball around very nicely there. The next match was a bit of a queer one. We lost 3-0 to Chesterfield. I still can't put my finger on what went wrong in this match, in all honesty. We just didn't turn up. Despite having 17 shots, 12 on target, Chesterfield scored 3 goals with just 5 shots. Every single one of theirs was on target. Again, I think teams sitting back and then hitting us on the counter was starting to become a bit of a problem. The Bromley match was pretty straightforward, Fonseca scoring a couple of goals for us to win 3-1 away from home before we came up against Boreham Wood. Now, checking my scouts report, I noticed again that they were going to be playing a 4-4-2, the formation we've been struggling against of late, and quite a negative mentality. Again, something that teams seem to be using against us as a weapon now. They must have learned the system and learned that actually if they sit back a little bit, we can be countered and exploited because the defence is quite weak. Since we've lost Platt, he's now left the club and actually gone to Wrexham, who we used this new system with for the first time. Talking of the new system, I thought I'd quickly show you it. You can go to that link that I left you earlier in the video and go and watch the full thing if you like, but it's just a 4-2-3-1, pressing football, possession orientated, very attacking. It stretches the pitch both horizontally and vertically and basically looks to overload the opposition both in the box and in the middle of the pitch. I won't go into too much detail. Like I say, you're best off going and watching the video for yourselves. So how did it perform against Boreham Wood? We went 1-0 down. That was on the 9th minute. And then on the 44th minute, just before the half-time whistle blew, we were 2-0 down. I was in a state of shock. I could not believe it. However, on the 56th minute, we came back with a well-worked goal put away by Blackman, and the chances just kept on coming. We absolutely dominated this game. I think we had 60-odd% possession. Samba getting on the end of a lovely Lacourt cross there before the long throw came to the rescue, with Lacourt again getting the ball in the middle for Williams to tuck away, and Samba with yet another corner set piece. Wardle on the end of that. That was deep into injury time just to finish off the match. So really happy with the result and really happy with the way we dominated the match. If you have a look at the stats, we did have 63% possession. So all looking rosy there. We switched back to the 4-4-2 against Macclesfield and squeezed a 4-3 win away from home. Very worried about the way the defence is performing of late, to be honest. My worries were put to rest a little bit at home to Chester, who were playing a 4-4-2 and actually got very little opportunity to score. They only had one shot, none on target whatsoever, so we bossed that match. Gave me a bit more confidence in the system going forward. Leyton Orient were dispatched 4-1 in the FA Cup 4th round qualifier. Then we thrashed our old enemy South Shields. They've come up the leagues with us for the last 2 seasons. They're really struggling this season. I think they sit in 17th, if I remember rightly. Yes, they're in 17th on 17 points. Trond Martin Soltella got on the score sheet. That's his first goal, I believe, for the club, or at least it is this season. He's developed reasonably well. He's coming along nicely for that role on the left wing. You may remember we signed him last season and he's one of my big prospects. His stats have gone up quite a bit already, but he's got a lot of work to do, and I'm not so sure his personality is the growing type. Torquay were dispatched 4-1 before we came up against Kidderminster and had a very worrying 4-2 loss. Before this match, we were actually 3 points clear of Barnet, so that's why Barnet are now level on points with us. And to be honest, we didn't deserve much out of the game either. We missed a shed load of chances, but Kidderminster looked really, really strong. And that brings us on nicely to the match away from home against Barnet, the top of the table clash. This is such an important game. The early scout reports I've seen have suggested Barnet are going to play a 4-4-2, which this would seem to agree with, and that they're going to play a positive mentality. Based on that, I'll stick with my 4-4-2, because generally when teams come to attack us, we win all day long. It's when they go into more of a cautious approach that we struggle against a 4-4-2. Let's just double check this scouting report. Oh, actually, it suggests they're going to try and retain possession and play a pressing high game, but they're going to play cautious mentality. Well, that changes my game plan completely. We're going to use the 4-2-3-1 based on that, definitely. So we're going to get Danny Ryan up as shadow striker. He plays really well there. Williams can come on off the bench if we need him. And I think everyone else is about right, really. Samba and Lacour are going to be really dangerous, hopefully, out wide on the wings. And I want to keep Vrakas on the bench because he's a real technical player and he scored 6 goals this season. Quite a lot of those have come when he's been substituted on. Okay, maybe a little bit risky going with the attacking mentality, and the fact we've got that really high line as well could cause problems, but we do need to control possession. The easiest way to do that is in their half of the pitch. So if we can keep hold of the ball, I'm quietly confident we could do quite well here. Now, I pre-warn you, we may not see many chances here. The system holds onto the ball really, really well, but it doesn't create as many as the 4-4-2 does. First free kick of the game, ball's worked to Gale. Pass short to Warburton, the left back. He's going to have to cut inside if he's crossing. Gale, oof, nice try. This isn't a bad start from us. We've controlled the game. We've had 57% possession. My only concern is out of the 10 shots we've had, 1 has been on target. So we're obviously struggling to actually get any meaningful opportunities. And as the clock ticks down towards half time, the amount of highlights we've seen would suggest the same. The only upside is Barnet haven't created much either. So we're into half time. We've not seen an awful lot of the team. I'm going to send them back out as we are. And I'm just going to watch the clock. If we get down to maybe the 60th minute, I might switch. Good long throw there. And it's a penalty. Santos, he's fouled. Who's taking it? It is Samba, the left winger. Great goal. Dispatches it into the bottom right. And actually, I don't think I've seen him miss a penalty this season. That's his 6th goal. We've only had 2 shots on target, but it's all about winning these games and understanding what your tactical weaknesses and strengths actually are. Barnet will have to come out of their shell now and actually attack us. So I'm going to watch this set piece in a minute. The second we've had this, I'm going to switch to the 4-4-2 because I think that there'll be gaps for us to exploit in behind. There we go. We've played well and I think we've controlled the game. So it's probably a little bit risky going with the 4-4-2 here, but I'm going to go for it. I think we've got a good chance. Need to make a couple of quick switches, so we'll have Ryan off and get Williams on. Stick with that for now. Let's see what happens. So like I said, my hope is that Barnet are going to now try coming on to us rather than sitting back, and that's going to give us space to exploit in behind. Oh, well played by Blackman, and this is what I'm talking about. So they were there on the attack, and this is what the 4-4-2 does so well. Getting in behind and exploiting the opposition's attacking movement. Good header there. Ball's on to Gale. Box to box midfielder. Works the ball to Williams off the bench. Oh, the Irishman can't score. But we got a corner. And there's not long left in the game. There's only 27 minutes left. Warburton swings one in. Well out. It's to Gale. Easy save. Easy save for the Barnet keeper. Barnet have had very little opportunity. I don't think we've seen one highlight from them, to be honest. You might correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I haven't seen them from memory get one chance until now. But this could turn into our counter-attack. Williams, it's 2-on-2. The Irishman Williams with the Italian Fonseca working his way into the box, but the ball ends up with Lacour. Oh, wow. Stefan Lacour, I love you. 7th goal of the season, a lovely assist there from Rob Gale. Really wise to knock the ball short to Lacour. But let's watch this finish again. This could be title defining. Works the ball inside, finds the corner of the net. It's one of the reasons why the 4-2-3-1 isn't a system I want to play long term, because it doesn't take advantage of the fact Lacour can cut inside, and because we like to stretch the pitch, it's difficult for me to do that. Got another counter-attack. I'm really happy that we went with the 4-4-2 in the end. I feel like that's what's created all of our clear-cut chances, and it's game over, boys. We've won 2-0. Really, really good result there. That puts us top of the table. A great victory away from home, and for me personally, I feel like that was a tactical victory as well. 3 points clear at the top of the table. You can't ask for much more. Let's give Lacour a little bit of praise for that because he was sensational. Just continuing our way through to the Newport game, guys, and this is the sort of news item you want to see. Ryan Williams is showing pleasing progress. His attributes just keep soaring up, and his dribbling has actually just increased, I believe, from 9 to 10. That's really good news. I think if he can just get a few more in these technicals and maybe get his pace and his acceleration up to 14, he'll be a massive, massive threat, even in Leagues 1 and Leagues 2. That off-the-ball movement needs to improve a little bit yet, but we can work on that. He scored 11 goals from 14, and he's got 4 assists as well. It's at the back that we have more issues, to be fair. We're having to use Jarman as the main centre-back alongside Lee Hurst. Lee Hurst has massive amounts of potential. He's going to be the guy I want the back of my shirt when we get all the way to the Premier League. 'Cause I do think he's got the quality to make it to the topper echelons of the game, but he needs to get improving and do it soon. He's got lots of potential. He needs to start showing it. For today's game, we're going to go with those two at the back. I'm bringing McCall back in purely because he's more defensive minded and we're going to need that over Warburton. Mitchell is a real risky option at right back, but I don't have a choice. Barazetta is suspended. Vrakas is coming in on the right side instead of Lacour, purely because Lacour is pretty tired. And we've got a big game coming up next against Leyton Orient, who are third. So I don't want to lose that lead I've just taken at the top of the table. Fonseca and Williams up front. Olzer is going to be playing as a deep line playmaker. He's a complete handful. He's not impressed me that much this season, but he's still a great player. And the big man Danny Ryan on the right side as a box-to-box midfielder. I just love this guy's all-round game, and he plays really well in the attacking midfield role when we use the 4-2-3-1. His passing and vision are really, really good. We're going to go with the 4-4-2. I just feel like Newport are going to come and attack us today, which is going to leave us gaps. Just like you saw in the last game, that's how we perform well. They're playing free at the back. It's pretty clustered in the middle of the park, so we're going to have to watch the game out and see how it goes. There's every chance that at some point in the match we're going to have to make a switch and change systems up. Remember that 4-2-3-1, the reason it works so well is because those inverted wing backs sit in and tuck in with the central midfielders, and they really do overload the centre of the park. Looking at the Newport system, they seem to be quite well. Oh my days, that was a great goal from Ryan Williams. As I was talking absolute rubbish, he just cuts in from the right wing, works way all the way around the pitch, and then ends up scoring a blinder. The keeper is probably to blame there a bit as well. He maybe should have got both hands onto it, but we will take that all day long. A great start to the game at home at the Flamingo Land Stadium. Brilliant. Newport working the ball around nicely here. Hopefully this doesn't lead to anything other than a counter-attack for us. Fonseca's in behind. Can he finish though? The Italian stallion. Great start to the game, and we've got a long throw from McCall. Oh, Williams, he is on fire today. He's popping up everywhere. And I'm noticing this more and more with every game that we're playing. They're in behind. Mampala, great save from Bonnie. Yeah, Williams seems to be popping up at the right place at the right time more often. He just needs to work on his composure because he does miss some sitters, but what he brings to us in his physicality and his link-up play makes up for that in spades. Mampala's in behind again. That is something we're going to have to watch out for. They've caught us out twice now in behind. That's one clear-cut chance and 2 half chances. I'm half tempted to switch to the 4-2-3-1 because, like we've seen a couple of times now, that does seem to see the game out and really retain possession. That's what we keep giving away, and the second we do, that's when they're launching those attacks. My only concern with that would be it's a very high line, and the way they're playing Newport seems to exploit that. But we've got a corner, so let's see how this one pans out. Samba hanging over it, swings one in. Jarman, wow, that was a really, really well worked set piece. Newport working the ball around nicely, trying to find an attack. Demetriou, Dolan, they're in behind and they've scored. Elliot Simoes. I don't want to take this to Wales. I do not want to go to Wales to play a replay. Vrakas almost brought the ball forward. It looks like Demetriou's going off for that. Yes, he is. Red card. Didn't look that bad to me, but he must have gone flying in. We're up to half time. They're down to 10 men and it's 2-1. I'm going to start the second half and we're just going to feel it out for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but I'm tempted to switch to the 4-2-3-1 just to kill this game off. That way we can really hold on to possession, especially seeing as we've got the advantage, the numerical advantage. McCall, left back. Oh my days, he almost scored another scorcher. You saw those 2 goals at the start of the episode, almost added to the tally. Let's just pause this quickly. I'm going to switch to the 4-2-3-1. We're going to probably bring off, really I need Fonseca for the next game, so what we'll do is we'll keep Ryan's up front. I'm going to have Fonseca off because I want him to play against Leyton Orient, and instead we're going to bring on Rob Gale. I'm going to have Danny Ryan attacking midfield position. I think we need to make a couple of other changes as well. Rakas can stay on because I need Lacour in the next match, but we're going to have Samba off and we're going to have Soltella on, and I've actually had a change of heart. I think we're going to have Ryan off just because I may well need him for the next game. So let's bring Blackman on in that shadow striker role. It's probably not suited for him because he hasn't got the greatest finishing, but we'll see what he can do. I'm sticking with the attacking mentality just because Newport are going to have to come on to us at some point, and when you play that attacking style, it's not that you're constantly attacking, it's just the amount of players you're willing to commit forward when you do attack. And if we can commit forward in numbers, that was a lovely effort there from Hurst, the centre back. If we can commit forward in numbers, there's more chance we're going to score on the break. Mitchell's been booked. Let's get him to ease off tackles. We've got another long throw. Ozer picks up the loose ball to McCall, the left back. Skips past one. Goes to Soltella, the Norwegian. Nice pass to Blackman. The AMC and Gale cannot tuck the ball away. We've had 28 shots, 13 on target, a clear-cut chance and 3 half chances. Their 3 clear-cut chances came from that ball, in behind over the top. And McCall's working his arse off there. He's done really well to get possession. Jarman with the ball forward, and Williams is going off for that. That was disgusting. That must have been both feet. Why defenders feel the need to do that? Strikers feel the need to do that. I have no idea. That's great. Well, Williams is going to be suspended for the next game. I don't know if that will only count for the FA Cup or whether that counts for the Leyton Orient game. I really hope he's available for the Leyton Orient game because we could do with his aerial presence. Let's have a quick look and check that now. Nah, he's suspended. To be honest, he'll be lucky to be suspended only for 2 games after that. That was a shocker of a challenge. Right, let's skip forward and get to the FA Cup draw. I want to find out who we're against in the second round. We can't get a Premier League team yet, or at least a big one at that, but we could maybe get a big Championship team. So this is the FA Cup draw, guys. Bishops Stortford is who we're getting. They're in the Ismailian Premier Division, so pretty much the level we started at. I think it's level 7, that. Should be a pretty straightforward victory for us. The one thing I did forget to mention is we've now upgraded the stadium to a 4,000 capacity, which is really good news. And the youth recruitment's been improved as well. I'm not quite sure yet where we're going to come back. Possibly if we make it past Bishops for the 3rd round of the FA Cup, but it'll be somewhere in winter, most likely. Maybe even away to Leyton Orient in February. Could be a nice game to come back for as well. Depends how it ties in with the cup games. Right guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much for watching. I'll link the tactic that we use, the 4-4-2, and also how to create your own tactic, which features the 4-2-3-1, in case you're interested. For those who are new, please do subscribe and hit the bell. That way you'll get to see new episodes as and when they go live. And if you enjoyed this, please give the video a thumbs up. Massively helps the channel. Right guys, I'll see you later.